What is up, everybody? What is going on? It is Saturday. It is March 23rd, and we are a couple of seconds away from noon. It just hit noon actually right now. So it is noon Pacific time, and it's time for some VR 365 Live. This is episode 128, and this is the first episode that we've had in quite some time that is earlier in the day. So UK fans can be in the building, which is good. Not really seen a ton of UK folks in chat so far, but they could possibly show up, of course. Paradise Decay, like it's been a minute since I've seen Paradise Decay in chat or a lot of the old UK homies. But basically, what is going on, guys? Okay, so today we've got a number of topics to get into. And, you know, certainly the Rift S, Oculus Quest, you know, that is going to be an ongoing topic for quite some time. And, you know, so we'll continue to cover that. But I don't want to be completely dominated by that every single day. You know, we kind of want to move on a little bit, but we will get into that as well. And of course, if you want nonstop discussion about Rift S, Oculus Quest, Kerfuffle City, all of that, VR Roundtable tomorrow around 9 a.m. Pacific. Not sure if we might start a little bit early, like 8:45 a.m. Pacific or something like that. I can imagine it's going to be a pretty long show, and it's going to be a pretty in-depth show. So you can look forward to that tomorrow. Oh, F Reality is still going on. Yeah, so they're probably doing a really long show today. I didn't really consider that. So yeah, because we're all going to do long shows. You know, that's the way it's going to be. I mean, it's just ridiculous amounts of information, unbelievable amounts of information this week. I'm still recovering. I am still recovering from this week, the chaos. There's stuff I still haven't even looked at in relationship to things that were announced this past week, new games, new information, all that type of stuff. So yeah, that's still going on as well. Okay, so what is one of the number one things I want to get to today? Okay, so the number one topic of the day is Apple, and we're going to get to that in just 1 second. But what I wanted to do first is I wanted to take a look at an image that is pretty freaking hilarious, okay? Pretty freaking hilarious. And I saw this on the Oculus Rift subreddit. So let's go ahead and bounce over to our full screen 1080p images. Let's go ahead and check this out. Bang. Okay, here we are. Somebody made this image, and I thought this was pretty freaking fantastic. Okay, so 2018, there's Oculus, and there's Windows Mixed Reality. You know, kind of that RoboCop look for the Lenovo, right? And then we go to 2019, and there's Windows Mixed Reality. I believe that is the HP Reverb, right? Over there on the left side, looks very much like an Oculus Rift in so many different ways. And then you have the Oculus Rift S. So what is going on here? Is this musical chairs? It's pretty funny. It's pretty hilarious. And not only that, but Windows Mixed Reality, you know, kind of that back part of your head strap almost looks like the Oculus symbol as well. So it's just kind of weird how everything is working out. But I thought that picture was pretty funny. I thought that picture was pretty hilarious. Wanted to talk about that for a brief second. All right, why don't we go ahead and get into the Apple thing? All right, let's go ahead and get into this Apple thing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and switch this trailer up. And I'm just going to put on a little clip of basically Tim Cook walking around on stage. And I'm going to go ahead and lower the volume dramatically on that. But let's go to the tweet window. Why is Apple in the news from a VR standpoint? They don't have any VR products. What are they doing in the news? Let's go to our tweet window. It's been a little while since we've gone to the tweet window. And here it is. Okay, so this is Yivian XR or Vivian XR, something like that. And this tweet came out, I believe this was yesterday that this hit. Apple CEO Tim Cook spoke to 36KR, whatever the hell that is, in China this week, and he said that VR will not become a mainstream or ubiquitous consumer product, as he pointed out that VR will only be used for a short time daily to watch a movie or to learn a lesson. And so Tim Cook, major diss, right? Major diss, saying VR is much ado about nothing. No need to really trip on VR because it's not going to be a mainstream product. It's not going to be a ubiquitous consumer product. Now, let me get my show notes up here because I should probably have that up where I have some information on this. And let's go ahead and we'll bounce back over here to our standard scene. And that's our boy Tim Cook on stage. And so the first thing I want to say about this is that some people are reporting that this is a bit of a misquote or a mistranslation, that Tim Cook didn't exactly mean it in quite that way. Okay, so first of all, we want to just go ahead and understand that. To be sure, you know, he's in China, he's talking about stuff, and I think it's within range, it's within the realm of possibility that this is a bit of a misquote, a bit of a mistranslation. So let's understand that. Number two, let's understand that Apple has no VR products, really. Apple has no, actually not really, they have no VR products, period. Like I was thinking about Google Cardboard, that's not Apple. So Apple doesn't have any VR products, and they probably don't have any VR products that are coming anytime in the near future either. So it's okay for them to do this. So they can go ahead and talk a bunch of smack about VR, and it's not really a major problem there if they want to go ahead and do that. I keep bumping into my mic. Need to reposition my stuff a little bit here, but I'll worry about that later. And then one of the other things I'll say about this is never say never. You know, never say never. That is a bad idea to say that something will never go mainstream or something will never be a ubiquitous consumer product, because 30 years from now, what? You know, you're telling me 30 years from now? See, the thing is, 30 years from now, we're basically going to have goggles on our head with clear screens, and they will predominantly be AR, but a flick of a button or just a simple little gesture and bam, a dark screen will basically come over it, and we can go full AR. I mean, we can go full VR within a split second. This is our AR future. So, you know, to say that VR is never going to be mainstream or ubiquitous is kind of misleading, because AR and VR are going to merge. They're going to merge. There's no question about it. Now, the one thing I will say about this is I kind of agree with Tim Cook in certain ways. Okay, I kind of agree with him in certain ways. Let's go back to the tweet window for just a second here, because at the end of this, he says that VR will only be used for a short time daily. Watch a movie or learn a lesson. Okay, and let's go back. And I kind of agree with this in a way. And you guys that have been longtime watchers of this show, people that have followed this show for a very long time, you guys know that I've said that AR is going to kill everything. Like I've said this before, and some of the hardest of the hardcore VR people kind of take offense to this, and they kind of don't like that I say this. But my long-term vision of where VR is going to be in about 10 years, 10 to 15 years, the way I see VR is the way that I think we look at home theater right now. That's the way I see VR in about 10 to 15 years, is when you think about going to your local grocery store, right? And you're going to rent the latest Blu-ray movie that's in Redbox, and it's Friday night, it's Saturday night, you're with your girlfriend, you're with your wife or your partner or whoever it happens to be, or maybe you're with your family, and you rent the latest Blu-ray, right? And I can tell you, you know, a Blu-ray that I want to rent is, you know, the new the Spider-Verse thing. What is it? Enter the Spider-Verse or whatever that name of that movie is. I actually want to rent that Blu-ray. I've never seen that, and I've heard it's really cool, and I know it's animated and all that, but I kind of want to rent that and check that out. So, you know, like it's Saturday night, right? I might rent a Blu-ray, and the entire family goes into our living room, and we've got a big 70-inch Sony TV, and we've got a Blu-ray in there, and that's movie night type of thing, right? And I kind of feel like 10 to 15 years from now, that's really where VR is going to be. That VR is going to be the thing. You go into your special VR room on Friday night or Saturday night, and you have an incredible next level experience. Or you go there at the end of the night when it's time to play a hardcore VR game. But other than that, we're going to be using AR all day long, everywhere we go. It's going to be an AR future. And I'm okay with that. Like, it's not a big deal. I saw a quote in chat. Somebody was saying in chat, and I don't remember who it was now, but somebody was saying AR is going to suck because they're going to steal all of our VR developers, that these VR developers are going to go over to AR and they're going to start making AR stuff, and we're not going to have VR developers. And one thing I want to say about that is if that happens, you're not going to care. You're not going to care. See, you guys that kind of hate AR and like don't want AR to take over and you're, you know, VR, baby, VR all the way. At a certain point, AR is going to be so effing good that you're not going to care. You're going to forget about VR in certain ways. And AR is going to get so compelling that you're not going to have an argument anymore. You're going to be happy. Like, don't worry about it. If AR comes along and it absolutely kills VR dead, other than like the home theater component that I'm talking about, where when you really want to immerse yourself in a real next level experience, you go into your VR room, kind of like you go into a little home theater room or a media room or something like that. But if AR really kills everything, the only way it's going to kill everything is that it's so incredibly compelling that you're not going to care. So you haters are not going to care. Don't worry about that. But I kind of agree with Tim Cook. Long term, it's going to be more of like a home theater kind of thing. So I actually kind of agree with that. But it's kind of a misleading comment, though, because, again, long-term, AR and VR are just basically going to merge into themselves. They're going to converge into themselves. So it's kind of a non-issue. So that's basically the Tim Cook Apple AR story. But why don't I take a look real quick at some of the comments that are popping out here. And Chris Duncan is checking in, and he says, Tim Cook is a bland number cruncher, not a dreamer, the inverse of Palmer Luckey. Tim Cook thrives on dreary political correctness. That's interesting. Darth Buzzer says, if AR covers your entire field of view, that isn't AR anymore. That's VR, which means the headset will be called an XR headset. I don't entirely agree with that. If you had if Magic Leap covered 240-degree field of view, it's still AR. You're seeing regular reality. It's being augmented on top of your regular reality. And that's still AR. It doesn't matter what the field of view is. I don't think the field of view changes AR. It's still AR. So I think that is still AR. John Schrubeck says, when AR is good enough, that will be much more ubiquitous. Yeah, I mean, AR is absolutely going to be more ubiquitous. You want to be able to see your dogs, your cats, your wife comes up. She wants to be able to see. People want to make eye contact with you. And eventually we could actually have a day. And I talked about this with the Valve Mystery HMD, you know, that has that little thing on the front of it. I said, oh, that's going to be this screen where there's going to be a camera inside that shows your face And it basically is, that's the screen so that your wife can see your eyeballs. And I was joking, you know, I was joking in a major way about that. But yeah, there could be a day where VR headsets will actually have a screen on the front of it, so everybody outside of the VR headset actually kind of can see your eyes and, you know, see what you're doing there. So I was going to try to see what some of these other comments are. Okay, Darth Buzzer says, Anthony is simply wrong about AR and VR. AR cannot kill VR because there are things AR can never do. In 10 to 15 years, headsets will be XR headsets that do both with any blending in between. Well, I'm not arguing with you, Darth Buzzer. I'm basically saying the same thing. I'm saying that AR is going to kill VR from the standpoint that we're not going to be in these separate camps of people where we're rooting for VR and these other people are rooting for AR. It's all going to be good. You know, it's going to be a non-concern really, but I know that you hardcore VR people that like hate these AR stories, you kind of want AR to die. Chris Duncan says, Apple is the most boring company now. The same tire products year after year. They're only interested in safely making product profits and pushing stale PC memes. Okay, that's an interesting comment there. Tom Lloyd. Anthony, back of HTC Vive looked like Rift, and back of Rift had Oculus logo. Now Rift looks like Samsung Odyssey. Quest starts up showing black white of the real world, so it's kind of an AR device. Yeah, it's really kind of weird how that's all going to work out in terms of, yeah, the back of the straps look like the opposite of the other companies, so it's kind of crazy how that is. And Asterix Gaming says Tim Cook ain't a gamer. Well, Apple really aren't gamers, and you know, Apple isn't about gaming. They allow gaming and they understand, you know, they're okay with gaming, but they're not about gaming. Apple has never been about gaming, and VR is a bit more on the gaming side of things. Call it what you will. This is Tom Lloyd. Call it what you will. I believe AR will be the name, but as long as we keep moving forward, I'm happy. Yeah, even the hardest of the hardcore AR headsets, like 7, 8, 9 years from now, they're going to have VR modes. So it's all water under the bridge. Okay, let's go ahead and go into our next story. And for our next story, we are going to go over to the web browser. And so this story right here is kind of interesting. One of the things that we found out in the last couple of days here is that there's going to be two models of the Oculus Quest. There's going to be the 64 gig version, and there's going to be the 128 gig version. And we probably should have known about this a lot. Well, we did kind of know about this a long time ago, because when they originally announced the Oculus Quest, they said starting at $399. And whenever you say starting at something, that always means that it's going to go higher and higher and higher. And that's exactly what we kind of ended up with. We've got a 64 gig version. We've got a 128 gig version. We've got a lot of people that are pissed off that it's only 64 gigs. Like they think it should be like 128 and 256. All these different kinds of things. But one of the things that we don't know, we do know that the Quest, the 64 gig version, the base model, $399. What we don't know is the 128 gig version. Now, this is speculation, this is rumors, this is not necessarily guaranteed, right? But the Amazon affiliate banner, basically, I mean, the way it is that you can kind of check this, and it seems like it's kind of leaking that the 128 gigabyte price is going to be $499 US. So, you know, just the other day, we were arguing, would you pay $50 more to double your storage space? And me personally, I would. But I'm kind of in a special category here because, see, with VR Roundtable and with VR 365 and with VR Game Rankings and all of that, one of the good things is I'm probably going to get some codes for a lot of Oculus Quest games. And because of that, I need max storage. So I really need 128 gigs because I'm going to end up throwing so many games onto whatever Quest that I have, that bigger is better. But are you guys going to pay $100 more? Are you guys going to jump from $399 to $499 to double up your storage to 128 gigs? Do you think Oculus is really going to do this? This is apparently what people are saying, because looking at the Amazon affiliate, looking at the banner ads, let's see what this says. Oculus Quest to feature 120 gig option. Amazon confirms price at $499. That isn't exactly true. That's not exactly true, but they believe that it's kind of like implying that it's going to be $499 based on what they're seeing here. Is like, you see this and it says $499 right there. It says 64 gig, $399. These are the Amazon affiliate advertisements basically, and they're saying that this kind of is leaking it. This is leaking the information. So it is $499 for double the memory. Are you going to pay an extra $100 for that? That's the real question there. I think I'd have to do it. I don't want to do it. I really don't want to do it. I did the 32 gig version of Oculus Go. I went with the bare bones $199 version. I've regretted that ever since the very beginning, because what I have to do is I've got to delete videos, I've got to delete demos that I don't play anymore because I run out of space too quickly. Also, it's kind of amazing that there isn't any kind of flash memory slot on it. But in certain ways, it's kind of understandable because they kind of want to force you. They want to force you to pay more money. Look at, the bottom line is Facebook is all about making money. They are a publicly traded company, and they're all about shareholder value. And they're all about making money, and they know that they can juice us early on. You start off high, you can always lower later. So it does look like this 128 gig version is a $100 upcharge. That is harsh. So very interesting that that got leaked out a little bit there. Okay, let's go ahead and go back over here to our standard scene, and I'm going to go ahead and throw on, I'm just going to throw on one of these Shadow Point gameplay things that came out not too long ago. Just a little gameplay trailer here for Shadow Point for the Oculus Quest. But one of the things I did want to talk about is I'm kind of surprised that we don't have official trailers for a whole bunch of Oculus Quest games yet. It's kind of weird to me. Like, we don't have a lot of official, like, we don't have an official trailer for Sport Scramble. Where is the official trailer for Sport Scramble? Where is the official trailer for Dead and Buried 2 Quest version? Where's the official trailer for, a new trailer for Vader Immortal? Where's a trailer for Robo Recall or The Climb? I'm kind of surprised that we still don't have like official Oculus Quest trailers other than Beat Saber. Basically, Beat Saber is the only official Oculus Quest trailer we have for the most part. And also, like on the website, like on Oculus's website or the Oculus Store, we still don't have store pages for Oculus Quest games. I kind of thought we would get that right now around GDC time. Now, having said all of that, remember, PAX East, it's only like 5 days away, right? PAX East starts on March 28th, which is the 3-year anniversary of the arrival of the Oculus Rift. I believe the Rift S is going to be made available on that day. There's going to be a lot of YouTubers that are going to be at PAX East. It's going to be a big thing, and I believe Oculus is kind of bringing a lot of those YouTubers to PAX East. So maybe when we get to PAX East, maybe we're going to get a lot more of these trailers, and maybe we'll find out the official release date of the Oculus Quest, because maybe they're going to want to do pre-orders. You know, maybe they're going to want to start to do pre-orders on some of this stuff. I don't think the Rift S is going to have a pre-order. I think the Rift S is just bam, it's just going to come out. You know, we're already seeing it on Amazon and stuff, and I think it's just going to hit. Rift S is just going to be available. Buy it now. There's no need for pre-orders. You're going to be able to get it. But Oculus Quest, I think we might get pre-orders, but I'm just kind of wondering about, like, when are we going to get these store pages? When are we going to get more trailers and those kinds of things? And Jarillo in chat says they show off Beat Saber because they don't have to undersample it, since Beat Saber can run on a Texas Instruments calculator. Okay, yeah, I don't know if that's really true. Chris Duncan, talking about battery life, says the Go doesn't even get 2 hours for me when streaming movies. I have to use an external battery to actually finish a whole movie a lot of times, hoping the Quest is better. Well, hey, there was an Oculus guy. He was wearing an Oculus t-shirt, right? He has to be an Oculus employee. He said 4 to 6 hours. So it's all good for the Oculus Quest, right? In terms of battery, I wish. I absolutely wish. Tom Lloyd says, expect Oculus to milk you guys as many ways as they can. They could release a headset 10 levels higher than the Rift S, but they lose a ton of money by skipping so many steps. Other companies will. Okay, so one thing I wanted to do really quick, folks, is since we're talking about Oculus Quest and since we're talking about Oculus Quest trailers, I'm going to go ahead and run Journey of the Gods, right, is what it's called, Journey of the Gods, for Oculus Quest, the new Turtle Rock Studios game. Check this out. I know this trailer has been out for like 5 days. I've never seen this trailer. I've never, ever seen this trailer. So I'm going to run this trailer and we'll get my real-time reactions after it's over. So I'm going to go ahead and pump the volume up on this Shadow Point trailer here, or gameplay footage. I'm going to pump the volume up on this, and volume is really low on this. And then what I'm going to do is let's check out this Journey of the Gods trailer. And I know you guys have probably seen this a million times already. I've never seen this. Can you believe it? I've never seen it. So let's check it out. All right, well, that is Journey of the Gods. That is the very first time I have ever seen this trailer, if you could believe it. You know, just so much stuff is going on. I mean, I obviously saw that it was announced. It's also interesting that there are a number of games that are coming to both the Quest and the Rift, and this is one that is coming to both the Quest and the Rift. And this Journey of the Gods is scheduled to arrive this spring. So it appears to be a launch game for the Oculus Quest. Now, one of the things we have to say about something being a launch game is there's launch day and there's launch window. And so something being a launch game for the Oculus Quest doesn't necessarily mean it will absolutely be there on launch day. It could be there during the launch window, like within the first 60, 90 days of launch. That is kind of the launch window. And so we have to remember that with all these games that are kind of tentatively scheduled for spring 2019 for the arrival of the Oculus Quest. This does look cool. It definitely has kind of a Zelda-ish look to it. Absolutely no question about it. A little bit Darksiders, which of course, that's Zelda as well. Journey of the Gods, Turtle Rock Studios. These guys have banged out actually like 3 or 4 different VR experiences already. You know, Face Your Fears, they did that on both the Oculus Rift and like Oculus Go Gear VR. They've also done several different Gear VR things as well. You know, like Blade Runner 2049, Replicant Pursuit or whatever. They got that one. They got The Well. They got like Outer Worlds. I believe all of those are Gear VR games, but they also work on Go. And so this is going to be their game for the Oculus Quest, and it is also coming to Oculus Rift. We just don't know, like we don't have a trailer yet for the Oculus Rift version, so we don't have a head-to-head comparison there, and we don't know exactly when the Oculus Rift version of this game is going to be coming out. But to have a Zelda-looking game right around launch, you know, you got a sword in one hand, you got your shield in the other, you're throwing things, you got legitimate hand presence. Now, graphically, we're looking at these graphics and we're like, yeah, this is definitely a downgrade from PSVR. It's definitely a downgrade from a pure graphics horror standpoint. But as somebody that has had an Oculus Quest headset on my head several times and tried several different Oculus Quest games, I can tell you that when you get in there, and it's so vibrant and it's so very colorful, and especially when you have a talented developer like Turtle Rock Studios that knows what the hell they're doing, and they also have the support of Oculus Studios, as I believe Oculus is publishing this game, Turtle Rock is a developer, so they get that extra level of support. They know every little trick in the book that the Oculus Quest is capable of at this point in time. This is probably going to be a very awesome game. So this is really cool. Now, if there's a downside to it, it's probably going to be short. And that's probably going to be a situation for a lot of the Oculus Quest early games like Vader Immortal and a lot of these games. They're probably going to be impressive but short. But that is Journey of the Gods, and it does look pretty good. And it's crazy that that's the first time I've ever seen that trailer. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and get off of the Rift S and get off of the Oculus Quest for a minute here. And I wanted to talk a little bit about Ghost Giant. So let me go ahead and grab the Ghost Giant trailer. Ghost Giant is coming up, man. It's April 16th. This game is going to be available in the month of April. I think it looks really good. I think it's a really cool game. I think this is one of the better looking PlayStation VR games that is on the immediate horizon. All right, and I was at GDC and I had an opportunity. They had Trover Saves the Universe and they had Ghost Giant, and I wanted to play both of them. Unfortunately, only got a chance to play one. I ultimately, I was really like, man, Trover, Ghost Giant, Trover, Ghost Giant. And I looked at Trover and I'm like, you're playing a regular DualShock 4 controller. I looked at Ghost Giant, you're using Move controllers, you got actual hand presence. I decided to go with Ghost Giant. So I was able to play this game for 15 minutes at Sony's booth. And to the best of my knowledge, Sony only had 2 VR games there. It was Trover and Ghost Giant. That was it. Now, Sony is going to be at PAX East, and I believe they are bringing more demos of PlayStation VR to PAX East. In fact, I think they're going to have a Jupiter and Mars demo, and they're going to have some other demos as well. And on Monday, of course, PlayStation has their special Nintendo Direct video that they're going to be releasing. We might get the release dates for some other PSVR games. We might also get some announcements for some other PSVR games. But this is Ghost Giant, and I'm going to tell you kind of how this game works. Okay, so basically, my demo of this game was the very beginning of the game. And you start off and there's this little character, that little character right there, walking around the world and talking. And then all of a sudden it sees you and it's like, oh my God, what are you doing? Who is this crazy giant? And apparently this character can see you, but no one else in the world can see you. And so other characters are coming up to him and talking to him, and they're talking about stuff. And he's like, oh my God, you don't see that giant ghost right there? And they're like, what are you talking about? So he's the only one that can see you. and you're kind of interacting with this character. And it's been described as similar to Moss. And I think it's similar to Moss because in the same way, in Moss, you're using a controller, you're manipulating things, and you're helping a character that is existing in that world. But this is a little bit different from Moss because to the best of my knowledge, you do not actually control that little guy. You are the ghost giant, and you have these giant hands that come in, and you do different things. You can poke and you can pull, and you have different agency in the world. You can kind of touch that guy, you can do that, and then you can also pull things, you can grab things, you can lift things up. The other thing about this game that I kind of like, and this is something that a lot of seated VR games do, is they're kind of wrapping the world around you. So when you're sitting down in a chair, you see the world over here and you see the world over there. And so the world is kind of wrapping around you, and you're kind of looking down and you're grabbing things and you're interacting with things and you're kind of pushing things around and moving things around. I thought the world is very colorful, very beautiful and vibrant. There's a little bit of the Vaseline effect that kind of comes with every PlayStation VR game under the sun. You know, all PSVR games do kind of have this generalized look to them, and Ghost Giant did have that a little bit as well, but it was very clean, very crisp. I liked Ghost Giant. I think it's pretty cool. Can't say a ton about it because I basically only played that one stage. That was pretty much it. But I did like what I saw from it. So that's Ghost Giant. It's coming on April 16th. I don't think we know the price of Ghost Giant yet. And so hopefully the price, you know, because that's the thing with a lot of these games. If these games come in at like $19.99, $24.99, and it ends up being a relatively short experience that only lasts a couple of hours, I'm kind of okay with that. But if they price it up there at $39 and stuff like that, I think it's got to be a longer, more in-depth experience. And I'm not exactly sure which way this one is going. But I like the world, I like the characters, and I think it's pretty cool. That is Ghost Giant. That's coming on April 16th. All right, one other thing I wanted to mention too. Let's go ahead and switch over to the Webby browser here. And I did want to mention Tactical Haptics. Okay, so let's switch over here. Tactical Haptics. These guys were at GDC. And to really get a demo from them, you had to make an appointment. And I didn't want to make any appointments with anybody because I wanted to have the freedom to just basically go wherever the hell I wanted to go and jump in whatever line I wanted to jump in. And then also I knew that these lines were going to be like multiple hours to try a lot of this different stuff. And I could imagine myself being stuck in like a 3-hour line, but I got an appointment that's coming up in an hour. And I didn't want to be like no-shows for a lot of appointments. I thought that would be kind of lame, so I didn't want to do that. And so Tactical Haptics, I didn't make an appointment with them. But what happened is I walked by their little booth. They were basically like in a closed room, and they had just finished a demo with another guy. And they were like in between demos. And I talked to the guy real quick. I said, hey, is there any way I could get a quick demo, you know, like a quick little demo for this? I know I don't have an appointment, but, or maybe I could wait around and maybe somebody cancels an appointment. Maybe I could get a quick demo for this. And I was able to get a demo and I tried this. However, I have a couple of caveats. Number one, the demo that I got was not a VR demo. They had a screen and they gave me both of the controllers in my left hand and my right hand. They let me try this out, but I was looking at a screen. I did not have a headset on. The guy basically said, look, we got another demo that's coming up real short. He says, I can give you a non-VR demo. It only takes about 5 to 7 minutes. And I don't want you to have the headset on because then you're going to get into a more involved demo, and then the other appointment's going to come, and we don't want to have to do all that. So I got the non-VR demo for Tactical Haptics, and I did get to hold these things in my hand. And so it's pretty cool. These are very interesting devices. They're also very heavy. These things are heavy. I mean, when you're holding them in your hand, they're kind of like, it's like holding basically like a staple gun or something like that. I mean, they're pretty heavy. The other, I don't know. I mean, long term, I just don't see the viability of these babies, to be completely honest with you. Now, do you see on the side where it has those orange areas? And what those things do is they move up and down, and they have different kinds of effects. And it kind of gives you this pulling and this pulling kind of mechanism that you get. So I was grabbing different things and picking them up. You know, I was connecting it together and being a machine gun and doing different kinds of demos with tactical haptics, with the reactive grip motion controller. And it was all pretty good, but ultimately, I would say it's a pass. Like, the only way I see these things really, really working is location-based entertainment and very, very specific experiences that are absolutely tailor-made to them. I do not anticipate anybody buying 2 of these things and playing a whole bunch of all kinds of different games using these. First of all, it's too heavy. You're not going to want to use it all the time like that. It's just not going to work for that. But it's interesting, and I can see it in location-based entertainment being kind of cool. The effects also, honestly, were cool, but not as cool as I think they need to be. What is very cool about it is you could take these devices and you could connect them this way and connect them that way, and they have like these magnets on them, and you just kind of pop them together, and then you're holding it like this, and you're doing, you know, they did a bow and arrow demo. The bow and arrow demo was pretty cool, but overall, I have to say that wasn't totally blown away by tactical haptics, but I did get to try it out. It's a cool concept. I wish them all the best of luck, and I hope that they're very successful. I hope they go down the location-based entertainment route, because I think they'll have a better opportunity there. Okay, one of the last things that I wanted to mention here is, I mean, we're not done yet here, but another thing I wanted to mention is I saw this just the other day, and that is Valve and their brain-computer interfaces, okay? And so there's some talk that's going on about this, and Valve has been getting very involved in like these brain-computer interfaces. And we can see this picture right here. This is Mike Abinder, and he has one of these open BCI EEG helmets on his head. And it's basically, it can measure signals that are in your brain. And so what they're talking about here is that they can tell, based on these signals, whether a player is happy, sad, frustrated, bored, focused, distracted, etc. And so basically they're saying that if you could analyze the way players are thinking as they're playing a game, you can create games that will essentially adjust themselves on the fly based on how you're feeling, which is certainly interesting. But honestly, I don't know, man. I think we're a long ways away from this. Like I don't think this is a very good idea. See, I think VR's got enough problems as it is with trying to get people to put a giant thing on their face, much less you're going to have all this extra stuff going on the top of your head. I think this is a long-term, like 15 years away kind of a deal. But VR is key to this. VR is absolutely key to this. And this is one of the reasons. This is good news, actually, from a standpoint of Valve and VR. This is really good news because Valve is very, very interested in this brain stuff, right? And the only way they're going to get somebody to put a contraption on their head like that is with a VR headset, because you're already putting it on your head. VR is already going on your head. So if you can make a strap that works with the VR headset that includes these things and doesn't make them too obnoxious, you can possibly do this. You know, you can possibly make this happen. So if you're putting the VR thing on your head anyway, what's a couple of more sensors that are going on your head at the same time? So that's kind of the thought process here. I still, you know, I think this is going to be a hard sell. And I think this is a long time away. I don't think this is like, I don't see the viability of this anytime in the very near future. But it's good that Valve is like super hyped about this, because it is going to keep VR a primary part of the equation for them, because that's the only way you're going to get one of these things on your head. you know, is like if you're already putting a VR headset on your head and then this is like built into the strap and it's kind of built in, maybe you can actually get this going on your head. So I don't know. That's kind of the, and then of course, yeah, you know, brain implants and all of that. Where is Jay Pace when you need him? Because he's willing to sign up for the first brain implant. And they actually mentioned, I don't know if it was in this story here, but they talked about, where is it? They talked about, it's similar, oh yeah, the LASIK threshold. Okay, so check this part out. I'll just read this one little paragraph here, and this is Road to VR, so make sure to bounce over to Road to VR and read the full article here. But they say there's still plenty to learn from EEG, Ambender says. Although deeper knowledge and a push towards more immersive, adaptive games would likely necessitate invasive brain implants. Before that happens, they need to pass what he calls the LASIK threshold, though, a procedure that is technically invasive but confers enough potential benefits to the user while minimizing the procedure's overall risk. And I compared it to LASIK as well. When I thought about these brain implants, it's kind of a situation where, like, the first year that LASIK hit, you know, I wasn't really up on going and doing LASIK. You know, I don't need it in the first place anyway. I don't even wear glasses and all of that. But, like, if I did, like, I'm not volunteering for the first year that you're doing LASIKs. I'm not doing it for the first 3 or 4 years that you're doing LASIKs. But when you've done it for like 15 years and you've got thousands of doctors that are doing it and they've done thousands of procedures and it just becomes a routine thing, and we know that there's no long-term major problems with this, like we find out that 7 years later you don't become brain dead because of it, you know, all those kinds of things, right? It's kind of the LASIK threshold. So I thought it was kind of surprising that they actually mentioned this LASIK threshold. I didn't know that this was a thing, and that's kind of what they're talking about here with actually doing brain implants. The weird thing about a brain implant, see, I've always thought that if you put something into the human body that is a foreign object, doesn't the human body like automatically realize, wait a minute, time out here, we've got a foreign object, let's get this foreign object the hell out of here? But of course we do have pacemakers and things like that that people have inside their bodies. And so I guess at a certain point the body just kind of grows around it or whatever and just kind of deals with it. I'm not sure exactly how that all works. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to be signing up for a brain implant anytime soon. Sure, would it be nice to walk into my house and just think in my head, light turn off, light turn on microwave, you know, turn on vacuum cleaner, go to channel 55 or whatever it is, turn on prawn. You know, if it would automatically do that with me just thinking about it, kind of cool, but is it worth it having a brain implant? Not exactly sure. But yeah, that is the Valve thing there. Okay, so I'm pretty much done with all the stories that I had built into today. What we could do is we could take a quick look at the major websites here. They're talking about Nintendo Labo. We saw this FCC thing, so we already know about that. Let's go over here to Road to VR. We can give this a quick refresh. And yeah, we know about Golem. It's going to reemerge at PAX East next week. And then also PlayStation on, on Monday. Sony is trotting out 7 different titles at PAX East. So this has already been locked in. Vacation Simulator is going to be there. Space Channel 5 VR Kind of Funky Newsflash is going to be there. Jupiter and Mars, Falcon Age, Golem, Ghost Giant, and Trover Saves the Universe. So yeah, if anybody's going to PAX East, you're going to have an opportunity to try out quite a few of these games. Like, I'd absolutely want to check out Falcon Age, and I wanted to see Jupiter and Mars in VR because I think it'd be kind of beautiful in VR. Underwater, like I think underwater stuff is kind of beautiful in VR. I'd like to have seen that. But all of that is coming on PAX East. Of course, on Monday, we're having the Sony thing. I forget what it's called now, but that's coming up on Monday. So we have that to look forward to as well. Okay, so why don't we go over to the Vive subreddit. Let me go ahead and give this a refresh. Let's see what some people are talking about over here. They are talking about VR or VR Roamer generating on-the-fly VR experiences while walking inside large buildings, basically. And we saw this video yesterday. I was talking about this yesterday. I think this is actually really cool. And I think this is kind of a future that we're going to kind of get into. And just seeing what some of the people are talking about here. Marvin the dog says, was this what Gabe was talking about in a tweet when answering what he thought was going to be the standard locomotion in the future or something like that? I don't remember exactly. And Darth Buzzard, hey, was Darth Buzzard the guy that was in our chat? He says, this would never be standard locomotion as no one has that kind of space in their house unless they live in a mansion. No, you don't need to be in your house, man. You go down to the local mall. You go to the city center or you go to your local park. You just start walking around and NPCs are regular people walking on the street. And cars driving by become big, huge monsters that you need to avoid or whatever. You know, I don't know how all of this is going to be legal, though. And I don't know that, like, our governments are going to allow people to walk around completely blinded, whether or not freaking neural networks and machine learning is, like, calculating everything and saying, oh, here's a large boulder. We're going to turn it into something else. This is going to become a house. This is going to become that. This is going to become this. But it is interesting technology, and you know what? I'm actually surprised that in the year 2019, we're already screwing around with something like that. That's actually kind of impressive to me. Let's see, seeing what some other people... Why hasn't Valve released a full VR title yet? Yeah, that's kind of a big question that a lot of us have had. And supposedly there will be some Valve news in the not-too-distant future. Let's see what the number one answer here is. Because they've clearly become incompetent at this stage. See Artifact. They need to announce Knuckles and a new HMD with a game before the Oculus S and HP headset release, or they're going to lose a bunch of sales. I don't know. I don't think the Oculus S crowd and the Valve secret HMD crowd are kind of... I don't know how much overlap there is. I think the hardcore Oculus fan base that would buy a Rift S is going to buy it regardless. Although, I mean, if Valve were to kind of give the information up about their headset and we were to know the resolution, we were to know whether it has like eye tracking and all these other kinds of things, maybe it could lead some people away from the Rift S. But I don't think they're too worried about that. Like, I don't think that's going to be part of their decision process. Okay, MRTV, Sebastian, he got an opportunity to try the HP Reverb, and he says that he thinks it could be every simmer's dream headset. And I think what he's talking about that is you got the crappy controllers, you got pretty crappy tracking as well. But if you're sitting in a chair and you're playing a flight sim or a driving sim or basically any kind of a sim where you're seated, pretty much the Reverb could be a dream headset basically for seated experiences. This is another thing that I thought as well. If you're watching The Great Sea, which was developed by Secret Location, it's kind of a cinematic thing. Or if you're doing The Invisible Hours or stuff like that, I could see the HP Reverb being very, very cool for that. And then also later when the Knuckles come out, and if you had lighthouses, maybe, I mean, I know you're going to have to jump through a lot of hoops to get that all working, but I could conceivably imagine somebody having the Hewlett-Packard Reverb along with a pair of Knuckles controllers and along with a pair of lighthouses and trying to make that all work. And then you could use it for everything, right? Okay, is there any new info on the Knuckles controllers? No, there isn't. And I doubt there will be anytime in the near future. I mean, not when I say near future, I mean like really near future. Final Assault early access released. Yes, guys, Final Assault. Final Assault is out, and I think it's awesome, and a lot of you guys should probably grab it. Okay, so let's go ahead and bounce over to the Oculus Rift subreddit real quick and just check out a couple of things they're talking about here. Of course, they are talking about this, which I did. This is pretty hilarious. It is pretty hilarious how we're playing musical chairs here. That's pretty funny, to be sure. So they're talking about that. Oh, this is actually an interesting take right here. Okay, this is an interesting take. Zuck has said that his goal is to get 1 billion people in VR. I don't know why people act so surprised when Oculus does things to reflect this goal. You know, this is their goal, to get 1 billion people in VR. So this is what their focus is. Their focus is not on the hardest of the hardcore, which does make absolutely perfect sense, because the hardest of the hardcore is like 10,000 people, okay? And 10,000 people is not what Facebook is interested in. 10,000 people is not going to make or break anything for Facebook, even though, god damn, is this the vocal minority. I mean, this hardcore 10,000, they are vocal as can be. And so you do want to kind of placate them a little bit because they are so goddamn vocal. But yeah, this is a good point. Zuck is trying to get to this 1 billion goal, so they're going to do things that make sense for that. And so I think he's talking about the comfort of the Rift S, talking about the fact that you do not need to set up all these sensors and everything. You're making it a lot easier. Also talking about the fact of the 80 hertz and the resolution not getting bumped very much, that a big part of that is keeping those specifications down low. That is an important point, and we got to remember that. And I don't necessarily disagree with a lot of that. Oculus Rift Classic, unavailable from Oculus.com. I wonder if this is this true now still, or was this a temporary thing? Let me go to, let's go to comments. 445 comments. It's kind of crazy. Oculus Rift, get into the best of VR for just not available. Sorry, this item is currently unavailable in your country. Yeah, so, you know, I mean, again, my prediction, I've said it a million times, but March 28th is the 3-year anniversary. You're going to do something special on the 3-year anniversary. And I think what you do is you do 2 major things. On the 3-year anniversary, you say, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The Rift S is available right now. You can drive down to your local Best Buy and you can pick yourself up a Rift S today if you would like to. Today on March 28th. Also, pre-orders are now open for the Oculus Quest. You can go ahead and pre-order your Oculus Quest. Those are the 2 things that might happen on March 28th. And if you really cannot, if you literally cannot go to Oculus.com and buy a regular standard Oculus Rift, then yeah, I think we are going to get the Rift S in a very short amount of time. And March 28th is a handful of days away. It makes all the sense in the world. Am I crazy? I don't think so. You know, I don't think you have to be Nostradamus Jr. to kind of figure that out. Okay, let's see. What else do we have going on here? Yeah, this guy says, okay, I'm loving Final Assault. It feels like Command and Conquer of VR. There's 8 comments in here. Let's see if a bunch of other people have jumped in. This guy says, I've been really enjoying it too. My personal preference is for more realistic style graphics, but the cartoony look in Final Assault is done well, and battlefields and units look great. And this guy says, I really like Final Assault. Dude, Final Assault straight up is one of the 5 best VR games of 2019 in my personal opinion. And I think Reckoner VR, I think Gary would agree with that. I think Steve Bishop would agree with that. I don't know if Chris has played as much Final Assault as Gary and Steve has, but he might agree with that as well. Final Assault is fabulous. Forget what Fluke Rogi was saying the other day. Fluke Rogi is a very hard to please guy. It's hard to please Fluke, you know? He's not easily entertained. He can find faults with a lot of things. But yeah, and this guy right here, CA1 Boss, holy shit. Assumed it was only a demo. Was the demo ever released? I'd love to try the demo. Yeah, see, people don't even know like this game is available. Like, it's kind of crazy. Let's go to the Steam page, actually. Let's see. They've got positive 18 reviews. Goddamn, Phaser Lock Interactive. You guys picked this is the wrong week to launch your game. I mean, you got PAX East is coming up as well. It's kind of just bad timing altogether. I think that's why there's so many games that are coming like in April, because you're going to get overshadowed by GDC, and you're also going to get overshadowed by PAX East. There's too many things going on. There's too many brand new announcements. There's too much of a kerfuffle with Rift S and all this other stuff, that I think that's why April is looking so heavy. You know, we got like Job Simulator in April. We got Ghost Giant in April. There's a whole bunch of other games that are coming in April as well. So, oh, you know what else was confirmed for April is JetX. I actually talked to one of the JetX, one of the members of the development house that is doing JetX, and he was saying, yeah, they've locked into April 11th. So JetX is coming April 11th, and Fibram Limited, the publisher, one of the guys was there. I was talking to him, didn't speak very good English at all, so we didn't have a very good conversation. But I was like, yeah, I've talked about JetX, and I showed him on my phone. I showed VR 365 with me standing in front of like a JetX background, and he's like, oh yeah, I remember you. And I think he actually emailed me a link to a demo, so I should be able to try a demo of JetX very soon. So it's kind of like Wipeout. He was telling me it was kind of like Wipeout. So hopefully I'll try a demo of this very soon. It's probably in my email. I just haven't even checked my email yet. But you know, one of the things we can take a look at is we can just look at virtual reality real quick and see, you know, what has come out recently. Final Assault, of course, it is available, and 33% off, guys. $20. That's a good discount. I mean, if you have any interest at all, like if you like Tabletop Gods or Brass Tactics, you've got to buy Final Assault. I think it's pretty fabulous. Space Junkies, the open beta is going on. A lot of people are saying that the PlayStation VR version is holding up pretty damn well. Oh, this Bleeding Edge VR Chapter 1, this thing came out. And look at how cheap it is, guys. Remember when I had a show on this? It's only $2.99, and now it's got a 15% discount. You get it for $2.54, and you get to play Jurassic Park VR. You get to play Jurassic Park VR. I got to imagine that this is a very, very short experience. You know, otherwise, why would it be so freaking cheap? Unless these guys are just smart and they just want to make it super cheap so a lot of people can get into it. The reviews are positive. This came out on March 18th. So Jurassic Park VR, maybe it doesn't have the official name, but that's pretty much Jurassic Park VR, and it is available. Tokyo Chronos. Oh my God, a 7% discount. Don't be so generous, My Dearest Incorporated and Sakai Project. Like, do not be so generous to give us a 7% discount. I don't know where we're going to spend all of our savings, okay? But Tokyo Chronos, it is available. It released on March 19th, so that is out there as well. This game, remember Isolation? This is one that we talked about for a little while. This game is out by Happy Hobgoblin, $10. It kind of has the co-op where someone's on a PC and somebody is in the VR headset. Only a few reviews on that one. So these are some of the recent releases, and I just wanted to look at upcoming real quick because I wanted to see if we have any more, like maybe we got some more release dates, because I haven't looked at this stuff in like a week or even longer because I've just been so freaking overwhelmed with everything else that's been going on. Paper Fire Rookie Arcade. What the hell is this? This looks kind of weird. Never seen this before. So that's coming. Well, it says March 2019. We're kind of running out of March. The VR arcade version of Paperville Panic. Ah, that looks kind of cool. Yeah, this looks like it might be kind of fun. So that's coming apparently in the month of March, although we're running out of days in March. So there's that. Paper Fire Rookie Arcade. And let's see, The Woods, did we get a date on this one yet? Nope, that's still to be announced. Gadgeteer, that's coming in April. They were smart, they waited until April. Oh, these Thunderball guys, like they were there at GDC. I could have got a demo of this if I waited a little bit longer. But like if I was there another day, I would have got a demo of that. Blood Trail, this is supposedly coming in March. Again, we're running out of days in March. But I just wanted to see if there was anything else that kind of... The Morrigan. Oh, yeah, this is coming on March 29th. The Pixel Mine Limited is the developer of that, so that's coming up as well. So anyways, just trying to keep an eye on some of this stuff. And we do got some sales that are going on over here. We can click on this and see all the different specials. StarTech Bridge Crew, 70% off. You can grab it for 12 bucks. Final Assault, 33% off. You can grab it for 20. The Serious Sam bundle, 88% off. I mean, that's pretty incredible. You get 5 items. Let's actually take a look at this. You get Serious Sam, the first encounter, second encounter, BFE. You get all of it for $19. I mean, come on, get the hell out of Dodge. If you don't already own that, you better do it. Transference for 9 bones. Dude, Transference for 9 bones, one of my favorite games of 2018, one of the 7 or 8 best games of the entire year of 2018. One of the few VR games I've ever finished. You know, I don't finish a lot of games. 10 bones. This is pretty much your homework assignment, folks. This is pretty much your homework assignment. If you're not a wuss, and if you don't own Transference, you pretty much got to do it. This is a very high quality game. You know what? I think this, what do you call it? The dev of Primordian, this is like his favorite game. The developer of Primordian. I still haven't done that interview with the dev of Primordian. Stonepunk Studios. Got to do that. Let's see, what other kind of deals do we have going on? Wardust is down to 15 bucks. You know, there were a lot of people that said Wardust was their game of the year. Eagle Flight is 6 bucks. You know, that's not too bad to grab Eagle Flight for a mere 6 bucks. Werewolves Within is 6 bucks. Of course, nobody's playing it anymore, but it's only 6 bucks. Along Together is $7.50. And Tokyo Chronos, a gigantic discount of only 7%. Merville's VR Adventure. Do you guys remember Shadow Legend VR? These are the developers of Shadow Legend VR. It's basically 2 dudes, and this is what they did before Shadow Legend VR. So if you want to see what the developers of Shadow Legend VR did prior to that, you can grab Merville's for a 6 spot. Speaking of Shadow Legend VR, I can't believe the reviews are mixed. That is a damn shame. This is one of the better VR games I've played. Yeah, it's short. It is short. I'm not going to lie about that. And it's showing deers in the trailer, and there's no deers in the game. Deers? Is deers a word? No, you just say deer, right? But the T-bone steak is in the game. And I can't believe the reviews are mixed on Shadow Legend. That is a damn shame right there. But anyway, guys, I got to bounce out of here. It's been about an hour, or it's been over an hour. And you know what? The last thing that I'll say before I bounce out of here, let's go to YouTube, and let's go to, oops, I keep bumping my mic here. Sorry about that. Let's go to VR Roundtable. Whoops, VR Roundtable. Let's go to VR Roundtable. I don't think we have our image up yet for tomorrow's episode. Yeah, no, we don't have a little preview image up yet. Gary's slipping, or Steve, whoever's supposed to make that. But yeah, tomorrow, guys, you want to bounce over here. VR Roundtable, about 9 a.m. It is going to be a celebration like none other, because you know what? Gary and Steve have not talked about all this craziness. Chris, Gary, Steve, they all want to talk about this. I've been talking about it for like the last 4 or 5 days. And they got to be a little bit jealous of the fact that they've had to wait until Sunday to talk about all of this. And so it's going to be awesome to hear their opinions on everything that's going on and kind of do all of that. So that is going to be tomorrow around 9 a.m. So be sure to tune into that. And then, of course, VR 365 is going to follow about 15 minutes later. I need a water break. You know, I need probably to hit the bathroom real quick. And then I'll hit up VR 365, and it'll kind of be a Sunday fun day. And MameFan, I don't know if MameFan's around, but MameFan, if you're available tomorrow after this episode, you know, you could hop in to VR 365, and I could get all of your thoughts about everything that's been going on at GDC, all of the announcements, all of the crazy things. We can kind of talk to MameFan as well. And so that will be the after show, the Sunday Fun Day show following VR Roundtable. So be sure to bounce over there and figure all that stuff out. All right, so I'm going to go back over here to my standard scene. I'm going to get my little logo, and I'm going to bounce the hell out of Dodge and take a little bit of a break. I got to work on VR game rankings, guys. I have not been making game profile pages and updating like our Oculus Quest most wanted list and all the, yeah, I'm not subscribed. I'm subscribed with my other channel. Like, I've got like 5 different YouTube accounts, so I am subscribed on some of them. The Steve Bishop checking in chat. He's not subscribed. Yeah, the same thing happened with Paradise Decay. I wasn't subscribed to his channel as well. It's because I don't think of VR 365. It's my YouTube channel, but it's not what I use to watch stuff myself personally. I've got VR game rankings as a YouTube channel. I've got my other previous YouTube thing. And so, you know, it's not a slight on anybody. It's not meant to be a slight anyway. But yeah, we've got 68 watchers. We've got 21 likes. So go ahead, bang that like button if you could. And if you're new to VR 365 and you're kind of wondering what is going on with VR 365, 9 a.m. Pacific. It's 9 a.m. Pacific, Sean Lewis. 9 a.m. Pacific is when we're typically starting our VR Roundtable episodes. And but if you're new to VR 365, go ahead and subscribe. You know, go ahead and subscribe, because then you'll get our shows all the time. I got to do some more Let's Plays. I haven't done a Let's Play in a long time. I got to do that as well. But, you know, I'm kind of back at work. It's been kind of chaotic. But you know what? It's VR 365. So I'm still going to be here, folks. I'm still going to be here 365 days a year, give or take about 27 days. All right, I will still be here. But yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it for today's show. Everybody have a wonderful Saturday. Buy Final Assault if you know what's good for you. Buy Transference if you know what's good for you. Come on, guys. Transference. It's badass. It's awesome. And it's a mere $10. You got to do it. But that's going to do it for today. See everybody tomorrow. Have a wonderful weekend. Later. Later.